Gluten-free diets have exploded in popularity, with the market now worth over $15 billion annually. But here's the shocking truth. Studies show that 86% of people who go gluten-free don't actually need to. For some people, going gluten-free without proper guidance can lead to serious nutritional deficiencies and health problems. Today, I'm separating fact from fiction about gluten-free diets. And what I discovered about the connection between gluten and inflammation might completely change how you think about your diet. Especially myth number 3, which almost everyone gets wrong. The gluten-free lifestyle has transformed from a medical necessity for some into a mainstream health trend embraced by millions. Celebrities endorse it, food companies profit from it, and social media influencers swear by its supposed benefits for everything from weight loss to better skin. But what does the science actually say? As someone who spent years researching nutrition and dietary patterns, I've watched the gluten-free movement evolve, and I've seen how much misinformation has spread alongside it. Today, we're diving deep into the science behind gluten, who truly benefits from avoiding it, and the surprising facts that most gluten-free advocates don't talk about. Whether you're considering going gluten-free or you've already eliminated it from your diet, this information is crucial for making informed decisions about your health. Let's start by understanding what gluten actually is. Gluten isn't a single ingredient. It's a family of proteins found primarily in wheat, barley, and rye. The two main proteins in gluten are glutenin and gliadin, with gliadin being responsible for most of the negative health effects in susceptible individuals. When flour mixes with water, these proteins form a sticky network that gives bread its chewy texture and helps it rise. This unique property is why gluten has been so valued in food production for thousands of years. Contrary to popular belief, gluten isn't inherently toxic or inflammatory for everyone. In fact, for the majority of the population, whole grains containing gluten provide valuable nutrients including B vitamins essential for energy production, fiber for digestive health, protein for muscle maintenance, iron for healthy blood cells, magnesium for hundreds of biochemical reactions. Now that we understand what gluten is, let's examine who actually needs to avoid it. There are 3 main groups of people who benefit from avoiding gluten. Number 1. Celiac disease, 1% of population. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder where gluten triggers the immune system to attack the small intestine. This is not an allergy or sensitivity. It's a serious autoimmune condition diagnosed through blood tests and intestinal biopsies. For people with celiac disease, even trace amounts of gluten can cause damage. Symptoms can include digestive issues, diarrhea, bloating, pain, fatigue and weakness, skin rashes, neurological problems, nutrient deficiencies. 2. Non-celiac gluten sensitivity, estimated 6% of population. This condition causes symptoms similar to celiac disease when gluten is consumed, but without intestinal damage or positive test results. Diagnosis is challenging and typically involves eliminating gluten and monitoring symptom improvement. 3. Wheat allergy, less than 1% of population. This is a true allergic reaction to proteins in wheat, not just gluten. Symptoms typically appear within minutes to hours and can include hives, difficulty breathing, or digestive distress. Together, these conditions affect approximately 7 to 8% of the population. Yet studies show that about 30% of Americans are trying to reduce or eliminate gluten. This discrepancy leads us to our first major myth. Despite popular belief, there's no scientific evidence that gluten-free diets provide health benefits for people without celiac disease, gluten sensitivity, or wheat allergy. In fact, a 2017 study published in the British Medical Journal followed over 110,000 people without celiac disease for 26 years and found that those who restricted gluten had no reduction in heart disease risk. Surprisingly, researchers noted that the avoidance of whole grains might actually increase their health risks. Here's why going gluten-free without medical necessity might be problematic. Many gluten-free products lack the fortification found in wheat products, leading to lower intake of B vitamins, especially folate, iron, fiber, calcium, zinc. Processed alternatives. Many gluten-free products are highly processed and contain more sugar, more fat, more additives, less protein, higher glycemic index. This leads us to our second major myth about gluten-free diets. One of the most common reasons people go gluten-free is for weight loss. However, the science doesn't support this approach. In fact, some participants who went gluten-free actually gained weight. Why doesn't gluten-free automatically mean weight loss? Many gluten-free alternatives contain more calories than their traditional counterparts. For example, regular bread, 80 calories per slice. Gluten-free bread, 90 pounds, 120 calories per slice. When people remove gluten, they often compensate by eating more of other foods, sometimes higher in calories. Reduced satiety. Gluten proteins contribute to feeling full. Without them, you might eat more before feeling satisfied. Any weight loss experienced when going gluten-free typically comes from 1. Overall reduction in processed foods, which can happen on any diet. 2. Increased awareness of food choices. 3. Reduced eating out due to limited options. These benefits can be achieved without eliminating gluten by simply focusing on whole, unprocessed foods. Now, let's address perhaps the most pervasive myth about gluten. The claim that gluten causes inflammation in everyone has become widely accepted, but the scientific evidence tells a different story. A 2017 double-blind study published in Gastroenterology examined inflammatory markers in people without celiac disease after consuming gluten. The researchers found no significant difference in inflammatory markers between gluten and placebo periods. For people without gluten-related disorders, whole grains containing gluten may actually have anti-inflammatory effects. The fiber in whole grains feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which produce anti-inflammatory compounds. Antioxidants in whole grains help combat oxidative stress and inflammation. The confusion stems partly from the fact that refined wheat products, like white bread and pastries, can indeed promote inflammation, but this is due to their high glycemic index and low fiber content, not the gluten itself. What might be causing your symptoms? If you feel better after eliminating gluten but don't have celiac disease, several other factors might be responsible. Many gluten-containing foods are also high in FODMAPs, fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. Short-chain carbohydrates that can cause digestive symptoms in sensitive individuals. Research suggests that many people who think they're sensitive to gluten are actually reacting to FODMAPs. 2. ATIs, amylase trypsin inhibitors. These are proteins in wheat that can trigger immune responses and intestinal inflammation in some people, independent of gluten. Modern wheat processing. Today's wheat differs significantly from ancient varieties. Higher gluten content through selective breeding, rapid fermentation methods versus traditional sourdough fermentation. Addition of vital wheat gluten to many products. 4. Overall diet quality. When people go gluten-free, they often eat more whole foods, cook more at home, consume less processed food, pay more attention to ingredients. These changes, rather than gluten elimination itself, may be responsible for improved symptoms. If you're considering a gluten-free diet, here's a sensible approach. Get proper testing first. Speak with a healthcare provider about testing for celiac disease. Important, you must be consuming gluten for tests to be accurate. Don't self-diagnose. Proper diagnosis affects long-term management. Next, consider a structured elimination. If testing is negative but you suspect sensitivity, work with a registered dietitian. Follow a proper elimination and reintroduction protocol. Keep a detailed symptom journal. Consider testing for FODMAP sensitivity. Number 3, focus on naturally gluten-free foods. Whether you need to be gluten-free or not, emphasize fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, naturally gluten-free grains, rice, quinoa, millet. 4th, be cautious with gluten-free products. If you do need to be gluten-free, read nutrition labels carefully. Choose products with shorter ingredient lists. Look for added fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Be aware of higher sugar and fat content. Consider traditional preparation methods. Some people who react to modern wheat products can tolerate sourdough bread. Traditional fermentation breaks down gluten. Ancient wheat varieties like einkorn or spelt. The truth about gluten is more nuanced than most headlines suggest. For those with celiac disease or genuine sensitivity, a gluten-free diet is medically necessary and life-changing. For the majority of people, however, whole grains containing gluten can be part of a healthy, balanced diet. The key is making informed decisions based on your individual health needs, not trends or marketing claims. If you suspect gluten is causing problems, work with healthcare professionals to find answers rather than self-diagnosing. If you found this information helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more evidence-based nutrition content. For my complete guide to understanding gluten sensitivity and making smart dietary choices, check out the link in the description. Remember, the best diet is one that works for your unique body, is sustainable long-term, and is based on whole, minimally processed foods, whether those include gluten or not.